Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? I hope all is well. Give me 1 minute because I am figuring out technology using a new uh thing here. Okay. I think it's actually working this time. Give me 1 second, my friends. Yes. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to delete that before it picks it up. Okay. Hi, let me just do one quick thing. All right. Hello, hello. If you are hopping on with me, can you just drop me an emoji of how you're feeling today? Whatever day it is, whenever you're watching this, whether it's live or the recording, let me know that you can hear me okay, because using my little AirPods that my hubby got me for Mother's Day, and I am using some new software so that I can come to more people at once. All the new things, learning, learning, learning. So, yes, drop me an emoji. How are you feeling today? And it's okay if that emoji is like the crying face or just a sad face or a face or a happy face. Your feelings are valid, whatever they are. Remember, so we're going to talk lots about like energy and frequency today. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is that everything has a frequency and there's no technical good or bad. In our world, we have labeled so many things. I feel like I need more valor here. We have labeled so many things as good and bad. And one of the things that has really been, guess, settled in. Oh, no, we're gonna not answer that. Excuse me, my phone's going off. Let's see. Um, One of the things that we have been taught, like is like polar, like good and bad, what we like, what we don't like, blah 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 blah, right? Which is fine. Nothing wrong with pretty much anything. You will learn about me. I'm all about you being your individual self. But in my all of the yoga practice and the yoga teachings that I have been a part of for like 17 years now, a big thing that they teach is like nothing is really good or bad. Things just have different frequencies, different vibrations. And it is our perception, our perspective, our perception on things that labels them good or bad. I think that's just part of our human experience. But all that being said, whatever you are feeling today is valid. Feel it. It's okay to feel those feelings because when we feel things, that's when we're actually able to move through things and truly release them rather than stuffing them down. This is coming from a chronic stuffer downer. So, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's talk about energy, quantum physics, your frequency, and how all of that can be used to shift your life. It is my true belief we are all here to live the best life that we can live. We have been blessed to be incarnated on this earth plane at this time. Lots of changes are happening that I truly in my heart feel are all good changes. I shared a quote a few days ago saying, because many of us are very, we don't like change. So change is like really hard and scary in the beginning. It's a hot mess in the middle, and then it is glorious in the end. Most of the time, it's way better than you think it's going to be. So, so let's get into it. Let's talk about frequency. Let's talk about energies and talk about practices that we can do to kind of raise our frequency to attract the things that we are, one, truly meant for us to attract, and two, that we also want to, right? I believe we all really want to live a more ease and flow life. Maybe you don't. That's cool too. But so the first thing to realize is in our universe, everything is energy, right? Einstein, back at the turn of the 1900s, proved it like E equals MC squared. I think that is a formula that probably all of us are familiar with, whether or not we know what it means. So E equals MC squared. So E is energy in that, and then it equals MC squared. So M is the mass, so it's the mass of the object, and then C is the speed of light squared. So basically, what that tells us, the speed of light is really freaking fast. Well, my physics is failing me, and I don't remember what the speed of light is, so I'd have to like Google that. But it's something like 3 times 10 to the power to the eighth power, something like that. I should look that up before I jumped on, but I did not. I did not. And that is in meters per second that I always worked in. If we are doing miles per hour, I definitely could not even guess that right now. Go Google it. But needless to say, the speed of light is a really big number, no matter what metrics you're working in, which basically tells us that a very small amount of mass can have, when you times that by the speed of light, which is a big number in and of itself, and then we square it, so we times it by itself. Wow, that's a lot of freaking energy that a little bit of mass can have. And if we like take our whole bodies, like I don't know, I weigh the most I've ever weighed in my life right now. I got a lot of energy stored up in me, my friends. So, so that just tells us like everything's energy. And one of the other things that Einstein kind of said is like energy can never neither be created nor destroyed. So energy just transmutes. It transmutes it transmutes into different forms, it transmutes into different frequencies. And really fundamentally, energy is all that there is. So whatever belief system you follow, and all belief systems I feel are valid. There is a reason for them. We are all individuals, and I think that is the beauty of this world. We are all individuals. We are all here to believe different things depending on our past and our thoughts and everything. So, whatever faith you come from, whatever belief system you come from, at the end of the day, we all are energy, right? And that's all there really is. That's another thing that Einstein always said, like energy is all there is. So, one of the ways that we can kind of like measure energy, if you will, kind of, is in terms of frequency. So, we can actually measure the rate at which something vibrates. So we are all vibrating, whether it's me, whether it's my desk, my computer, or your phone, whatever you're watching this on. We are all, everything vibrates. And that is one of the keys, like seeing that like everything has an energy to it. Some things that are like denser, like the desk that I'm sitting at, the chair that I'm sitting at, they vibrate at a lower frequency than like the light waves, right? The light waves, the photons that are traveling through light and everything. So everything just has different frequency. You can also look at like colors of light, like the spectrum. Like we have our electromagnetic spectrum that starts from like radio waves, which are very, very big waves that can, well, all waves can travel really far, but they're very big waves all the way up to we have like the visual light spectrum that has like much smaller waves, and we have red light, which has, in terms of the visual light, so the light that our eyes can detect, they have the longest wavelength. And then like our violet light has the shortest wavelength, and then ultraviolet light, which we can't detect with our visual eye, has an even smaller one. So everything is different frequencies, and frequency is generally measured in hertz and megahertz usually. But so we can measure the energy of everything in its frequency. That's one of the contexts that we can take it in. So we are all vibrating at a specific frequency. Our thoughts vibrate at different frequencies, and you can actually feel it. Like when you are in a space where you're having a hard time, like you have lots of negative thoughts happening. You feel that heaviness, like that's going to be, it's just a lower vibration. And again, nothing good or bad about it. It is, right? Like, and it's okay to feel that. It's okay to have days where it's just like, meh, right? And then like some days or in some different times of the day, you feel that lighter. Like you're like, I got this, life is going good, things are flowing, the energy is moving. And you feel that like lifting up, that higher frequency, right? That higher rate of vibrating, like, woo, I'm ready for this. So just different ways. So let me know if this is like makes sense, if it's resonating with you. It's funny, I was thinking a while ago. So for those of you that don't know, I have a my background is in astrophysics. I got my bachelor's degree in astrophysics. I went on to three-quarters of the way through my master's degree before I figured out that I was like, I don't really want to do this for a living. I want to do what I'm doing sitting here right here with you guys. But I have recently really learned that everything that I was, there's a reason why we go through different things in life, right? There is always a reason. We may not see it. It's taken me almost 10 years to see why I went through what I went through in terms of schooling. But when I start really like getting into this, like quantum mechanics, like frequency, the solar system, like quantum mechanics, everything has an impact. So let's talk about a few like universal laws that we kind of all of us work with in terms of like energy and frequency. So one of them is something that quantum physics actually has proven. It's something that like a lot of like mystics and people like, like in the yoga tradition, we always talk about how we are all one. We are all one big consciousness, right? Uh, So quantum physics actually has proven this. It is one of the laws of the universe is the law of divine oneness. And that's like kind of what quantum physics actually scientifically proved. Like we are all connected. We are all uniquely individual in ourselves, but at the same time, we are all connected. So, for example, like when you walk into a room, and like your significant others in that room and you know them very well, right? You can feel where they're at. Like if they are in a good mood, like you walk in and you're like, oh, like like maybe you're not in like such a great mood and like they kind of lift you up a little bit. Or you walk in and you're like, you before they even turned around, you're like, ooh, this, they're not in a good mood. Like you can feel it, right? You can feel that vibration. You can feel that frequency. And that's because we are all connected. Like what one person is like feeling on one side of the earth, someone can be like feeling that, especially if they're very attuned on the other side. This is why we have like a collective conscious, right? We have our own individual consciousness, like we can be vibrating where we're vibrating at, but then there's also like a collective consciousness. Um, and that's one of the most powerful things about doing your own personal work, whatever healing you need to do, whatever work that you need to do on to create the life that you truly know that you are meant to have. When each one of us starts to do this work, that has an impact on the rest of us. It helps to transform the rest of us and it literally helps to uplift the world. So often we see so many horrible things in this world, especially if you're paying attention to the media, which I feel like the media really exacerbates. I mean, not saying that there's not horrible things in the world, there totally is, but the media, I think, exacerbates things a lot more. And then it puts us all into that like that lower energy space, that lower frequency space. Whereas if we each, I believe, we're coming to a space in our civilization where as we focus more on our individual selves and work on ourselves and like uplift ourselves, that is going to have, first of all, it's going to have an impact directly on our family. When you start to heal your own shit, You are paving the way. If you have children, you are paving the way for them to see what a healthy human being looks like, and then that perpetuates in their gene, like for down the line of generations. You can have an effect on your partner, you can have an effect on your parents, you can have effect on other friends and family. You never know who you're going to affect, right? So this is all the law of divine oneness. This is like what quantum physics has proven. Like we are all connected. When something happens over here, it has a connection with something over here. Okay, so the next thing is the law of vibration. So your vibration, your frequency is a combination. It's determined by the beliefs that you have, the thoughts that you have, your feelings, your emotions, and ultimately your actions, how you actually show up in this world and what you do in this lifetime has a direct effect on your frequency. So, and with that, the kind of comes in like the law of attraction. A lot of my friends that are like in the manifestation world, I'm sure you've heard of the law of attraction, like it's one of like the big things like The Secret that came out. Gosh, I don't even want to know how long ago that was because I feel like I'm getting old. One of my friends from when I was like a teenager, her daughter's going into high school next year, and I was like, oh my gosh, when did we get so old? No, no, thank you. But actually, I feel great overall. I don't really think about it. Age is it's just a number. But anyhow, coming back. So the law of vibration. So our personal frequency is a combination of our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, emotions, and ultimately actions, like what we do in this world. I mean, have you ever noticed like You know, we all make mistakes. We all do shitty things. We all do things that we know in hindsight, we're like, oh, I should not. That was like a total asshole move. And you feel like your vibration, like you can feel like that lower, like, I mean, you can like the shame, the guilt, like all of those things, they just have a lower frequency to them. And you can feel that, right? Whereas if you genuinely do something for someone out of like from a calling of your heart without any expectation of anything to be reciprocated, don't you just like you feel uplifted, like you feel that higher vibration? So, and then like our thoughts, like when you're in a thought pattern of working through, like those positive thought patterns, they tend to be more uplifting than like if we're going down like that spiral of lower patterns and kind of spiraling down into anxiety or depression. Like we can feel the heavierness, we can feel the slowerness, we can feel that lower, right? So just get in tune, like with whatever you're feeling at any time. No, first of all, it's okay, it is valid. First of all, you start there. Do not disregard, do not be the stuffer downer, do not be like I had been for a very long time. Okay, so that's the big thing. And that's like another thing, one of the reasons why when we're starting to have those lower vibrational thoughts and frequencies and that energy and we start to spiral down and then more kind of shit starts happening in our lives that makes us like we're like why is this all like at the end of the day that is where like the law of attraction comes in also. And I feel like in some ways we are meant to learn lessons, right? And it's what we do with those lessons, if we, what actions we take based on those lessons have a big impact in our lives. Um, but when we're going kind of in like whether you're getting more lifted up or more coming down into the spiral, kind of like things start going that same direction, right? It's kind of like that law of momentum, like the momentum builds in whatever direction you're going. So just being mindful and aware. First off, everything starts with awareness. Okay, So, and we are, as I said, like, we're made of mass, right? So we naturally have a lot of energy. We are energetic beings. We have a frequency. You can actually put like a frequency measuring machine, there's many different ones out there, and measure a person's frequency and see where they're at. Um, so our every nerve impulse, every cell in the body has an electromagnetic current. And we can measure these currents. So we can measure the health of cells or the health of thoughts. Like these are not only can we like feel them and like kind of get an internal barometer, but we can actually scientifically measure them. That's what like. I'm a big science nerd. I have come to a space where I don't rely on science so much anymore. Like I don't need it to validate anything for me. I just know what's right for me and I follow that and I don't really care so much about science these days. But, for people that like that science background, science is starting to validate things that a lot of like mystics and yogis and different like kind of spiritual people have known for a really long time that they just didn't need the validation. So, a big thing that I would like to also discuss is like our genetics. So, a lot of something that I disagree with the medical community a lot on is predestined genetics. Like if like one family member has like some disease, you're more prone to that disease because it's like in your genetic code. And it's like, yes, in a way, like about 5%, 5 to 10%, yes. The other 90% is how we go about living our lives in terms of, again, back to our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings, our emotions, our actions has a big thing. So epigenetics is something that I think, I don't know, I could make up a time frame, but I don't have one. But go and look up epigenetics. Go do some research. Again, I always say this, do not take my words as any type of dogma because they're not. We are all individuals. So please go find your own thing. Do your own research if that's what you feel called to do. We are all designed differently. Some of us, like me, I'm in my design, I'm a researcher. I like to go down the rabbit hole. I like to get a solid foundation. We're not all designed that way. So you follow what you feel is right. And at the end of the day, like you can just listen to someone talking and you'll know if that truth resonates with you or not when you really get honest with yourself. So, epigenetics. I'm going to read a little quote by one of like the kind of like the founding people of epigenetics, Bruce Lipton. So it says I can't talk. Our perceptions of any given things at any given moment influences our brain chemistry. This in turn affects the environment where our cells reside, meaning that our thoughts and perceptions have a direct, overpoweringly significant effect on our cells. So that is profound. Like how we function, how we show up in this world has a direct effect on ourselves. It actually has a direct effect on our DNA. So that's one thing with genetics. We can have this genetic code that says, like, hey, we're more prone to, let's say, breast cancer, for example. All right, I'm going to hit some hot topics. You're just going to have to roll with me. All right. And some people they choose like they find out that they have like whatever genetic code that makes them more predisposed to breast cancer and they choose to have a double mastectomy. First of all, that's 100% their choice. I am never going to judge someone for it. That is their choice. Would that be my personal choice? No, it would not. Because here's the thing is I feel that there's always so much fear mongering that's going rather than going like, okay, what can I do to prevent that gene from turning on? Because that's the whole thing is we may have that in our genetic code, but that does not necessarily mean that gene is going to get turned on. Depending on lifestyle, that gene will get turned on or not. You have there's a maybe a 5% chance that it's like 100% going to be turned on, but there's a 95% chance that choosing choosing your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, your emotions, how your lifestyle, like ditching the chemicals out of the home, like different lifestyle choices that you make has a huge impact on whether those genetic codes are going to be turned on or off, like turned on, or if they're going to stay off. So you have a lot more control than you think you do. That's a big disagreement that I personally have with the medical community, is that they just say like verbatim, like, oh, you have this, like you're going to get it. And it's like, no, no, not necessarily. Yes, there's a chance, totally, but not necessarily. Um, so another thing is your mind will have another thing that Dr. Bruce Lipton says is your mind will have, sorry, can't talk. Your mind will adjust the body's biology and behavior to fit your beliefs. This is deeply, deeply true. Whatever you believe, like deeply believe, and sometimes these are subconscious beliefs where they're deep underneath the surface and you're not even, obviously consciously aware of them, but your body will, um, whatever your constant thoughts and beliefs are, that's going to manifest. It's going to manifest. It's one of the like things is like emotions. Like when we don't deal with our emotions and we don't like truly deal with them, they will manifest as different diseases, illnesses, all that kind of stuff. One thing that I always remind someone, if they have some type of disease, like let's say they have diabetes, rather than always claiming, like, because your words have power, like, I'm a diabetic, you can say something. Okay, sorry, I had a pop up and I got distracted. But rather than like claiming, because that's claiming, you're saying, I'm a diabetic. Like, how about we don't claim that and we just say, I am working through my diabetes. Like, I am doing what I can. Like, it's something that I live with, but you don't have to say, like, you don't have to claim it for yourself. Like, I am this. Because when we say we are that, your body's going, like, okay, we are that. We're never going to not be that because that's what we wholeheartedly believe. One of the ways, right? Okay. So, so those are big things. So when we are at our right frequency, when we're at the frequency that we're naturally supposed to flow in for our own personal health, and that's different from all of us, we are more naturally in our healthy state. So, Donna Eden, who wrote the book Energy Medicine, she was another doctor that took like a more energetic approach to things, that each person has unique patterns of energy that are directly related to their health and well-being. So this is one thing that I love about human design, is because a lot of, I feel like even like in, obviously like in our allopathic medical world, it's a one size fit all, like you take this pill for this thing, you take this pill for this thing, and it doesn't really take into account all of our different body chemistries other than maybe like a difference of dosage. And even in natural health and wellness, which I've been in for a really long time, and even in like the yoga and like traditional yogic texts and everything, it's a one size fits all thing. And I do not subscribe to that. We are all different. We are all completely unique. And when I found human design, it was like the first time that I was like, oh my gosh, it is this basically unbiased map of how your energy and frequency most easily flows uniquely to yourself. And you can experiment with that and see if it's actually true for you. For me personally, it has been very true. Me diving into my chart, I finally feel like I am like, I, it sounds so stupid, but I've been giving this permission slip to live my life how I have always wanted to live it. But I have always had like this guilt of not not, it's my open ego center, not feeling worthy enough to live it how I want, and thinking that, and not feeling worthy enough that I will attract what I really want to, right? So, when you know, so a big thing is like, okay, so that's great. Like, now how do we figure out how to live our lives to where we will be in the right frequency and energy for how we're supposed to be in this lifetime? So when you know how your energy operates, then you know what to do to bring optimal health. When we kind of figure out like how your energy is supposed to flow, then you're like, okay, this is what I need to do. And again, another reason why I love human design, it kind of helps you to figure out those energies. So that's like a brief overview. I could totally dive in deeper and talk your ear off for much, much longer about everything. Like, let me know, does that resonate with you? Like, do you resonate with the we each have a unique individual? Do you resonate with like thoughts and beliefs can have an impact on your own personal energy and frequency and your overall health, be it physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, all the gamuts of health? Okay, so what are things that we can do to get into that correct energetic state? So, one of the big things that has made a huge impact on my life is human design, learning my own design and experimenting with actually living through that. If you would like to learn more about human design, leave me a comment and I will send you a link so I can run your chart. And I will send you a paper that will give you like a really quick and brief overview of the main things that you can start to experiment with in your chart. Um, Essential oils are another one. Essential oils have very high frequencies. When we apply oils, when we ingest them internally, of course, brand does matter for topically applying them and even diffusing them. So those oils all have a frequency. So the human body runs at a frequency from about like 62 to 78, depending on the person. Like that's kind of like the spectrum ish. Dis-ease, so when we start to like get diseases, they set in when our human frequency usually goes below about 58 megahertz. So, and then, all food has different kind of frequencies. Like your canned food doesn't really have very much like frequency. It doesn't, it's pretty much like 0 hertz. It's very like dead, all the way up to like like your fresh fruits and vegetables, like they're going to have the highest frequency, which is like around like 50 megahertz, somewhere around there. And there's a whole gamut because each thing's individual, each thing has its own frequency, right? And then even canned foods aren't like totally zero. They have some because they're existing, they're matter, right? So, and then our oils, what's amazing about the oils is like oils, the frequency of essential oils, it almost is like they're a concentrated version of the life force of these different plants. So they start at about 52 megahertz, and then they go all the way up, depending on the oil, to about 400 megahertz. Idaho blue spruce is the highest frequency oil, rose coming right in behind it at about 320. So that my favorite combo of, I always call it like raise your vibration, is Idaho blue spruce and rose. Those two, oh my gosh, if you need those oils in your life to kind of help you, let me know. Reach out to me. Um, but so applying oils, diffusing the oils can naturally help to raise the frequency in your home. It can help raise the frequency of your physical body, taking them internally. It'll help raise each organ. Each organ has a different frequency, so you can combine the like frequencies with oils to like the natural frequency of that organ to kind of help bring it back into balance, your different systems. That's the beauty of using Young Living's Vitality line. We can ingest it. Um, and essential oils are also adaptogens. So what's awesome about them is you can use them and not know what the hell you're doing. I mean, that's what I love. Like, I have so many people are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I'm like, just use them. Don't worry about it. They know what to do, and your body knows what to do with them because they're plants. We've evolved with plants. Like, don't worry about it. Just put them on. No worries. And then they can also help us go into the subconscious mind. So oils obviously are very aromatic, right? And our olfactory system is directly linked to our limbic system. So I talk about this a lot in our emotional release classes and our emotional work classes that I do with my team. So our limbic system is where our memories are held, our emotions are held. It's where like it's very primal part of the brain. So, and it is our olfactory system, our no sense of smell is the only thing that's directly linked to that primal part of the brain where all of our memories are held, where our emotions are held. Um, and that's why, like, when you smell something that either like reminds you of really, really good, like something very good or like something not so good, like they bring back smells, bring back memories, and that's why. So our smells can actually, using the oils, can start to unlock that subconscious mind. It's one of the tools. So many tools that we have to unlock the subconscious mind and work through things. Yoga, the yoga practice, whatever style of yoga you like, yoga asana, moving the body, like physically moving the body, helps to move that prana and apana and get the uplifting and like all of those movements, moving the physical body in that yoga meditative practice, sitting and actually like meditating. Um, Another big thing that I really like is hypnotherapy. That is something that personally has really helped me to get into my subconscious mind and help to release some of those major blocks that I know I have. And then lastly, gratitude. Gratitude practice is huge. Learning to be grateful for the hard stuff as well as the good stuff. So those are, what is that? 6 different ways you can kind of get started on working and raising your vibration. Knowing and having patience with all of this, knowing it takes time. You can head over to my website. I am slowly building it up with more and more resources, but it's just my name, MalloryReese.com, and peruse around. I am always adding yoga classes and meditation classes. I'm adding different oily things. I am adding different like personal development mindset kind of stuff. Human design will be on there very, very shortly. And I'm just so excited to share all of you everything that I learn. I love to learn. I love to do the work. So I plan on popping on more and more to help do all that with you. All right, again, leave me an emoji. How are you feeling today? I'm going to send you love in whatever frequency you're sitting at today. I love you all so much. Thank you for hopping on with me.